What's going on, everybody? So I was finally able to watch some newer stuff pretty recently, and I was able to finally see that newer movie I was kind of interested in watching in the theaters called Civil War. But once I found out that maybe the trailers were a little bit misleading because there wasn't maybe as much action, especially like the war depicted action as they kind of just put throughout the trailer. I kind of said, yeah, maybe it's not worth it because I know that director. I know his movie Ex Machina, which is very like mental and very deep. Obviously, not like the action-packed movie like that was promising, but he could get pretty deep in his type of thoughts and theories and all that. So I didn't want it to be like too boring of a movie to waste money on. But after watching it, I was pretty impressed. But I still do like his movies, the ones that I've seen. I've only seen Ex Machina. I think he did Annihilation as well, so I haven't seen that one, but I did like this new movie Civil War. I thought it was pretty good, very well acted. Kirsten Dunst, a couple of newer people that I've never really seen, but they did pretty good as well. Basically, it follows like a group of reporters that are reporting during the New Age Civil War, where kind of the U.S. is split up with like California and Texas uniting as one superpower, and then like DC kind of being their own thing, and kind of like the middle pockets of America, certain places like Colorado, maybe like Missouri, they kind of just stay out of the fight and they're kind of just living life kind of like normal, which is pretty crazy when they kind of cross into those things. It's almost like a time warp, but then when they go into like a main hotbed, then it's like pretty crazy, like basically war style on each other, which is crazy, and it sucks because it obviously can happen basically at any time with how easy it is to get certain weapons and stuff here in America. But hoping for the best, hoping mankind isn't that dumb. But either way, I thought it was like a nice, interesting look at it. Probably one of his shorter films too. It didn't even reach over 2 hours. So even though there are some like couple minutes here of like kind of slow talking, and then it kind of builds up, there's a little bit more action in there than I thought. He did a nice job mixing action and tension and thrilling scenes and stuff. So there's some pretty good scenes in there, especially when Jesse Plemons comes in. It's not really that long of a scene he's in, but it definitely was a very impactful scene in my opinion. So yeah, if you're interested, check out Civil War. And finally, I was able to. I was kind of always able to. I've had access to Hulu and FX for quite a while, but for some reason I never really pushed myself to watch that Welcome to Wrexham documentary-ish type of style. It is kind of, I guess it's a documentary-ish, but I've always disliked when they do like interviews during the whole episode or season, and they're talking as if they don't know what happened, and yet they're somewhere in the same thing from when the beginning of the episode started to the end of the season. So it's obvious like they kind of go through their own type of acting and stuff, some of that fake drama, whatever. But either way, I was able to watch that first season and going into the second season as well, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've always been a sucker for like sports documentary-ish type of thing, kind of like the NFL Hard Knocks and stuff that they do. I've always liked it no matter what team it is, because it's always interesting to see the behind-the-scenes stuff of what goes on for a lot of these places, but then to also see like how bad people run these teams as well, these organizations. But yeah, it's basically him, Ryan Reynolds, and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia pretty much put money together to buy a team in Wales, which isn't technically England apparently. It's like a little bit north, I believe. But yeah, they bought a team that is pretty bad because there's like different levels when it comes to the playing out there, because obviously Premier League, you hear like all those top teams out there like Manchester United, places like that, but they're like lower of the low. Like there's probably like 3 top tier leagues, and they're like in one of the first bottom under that. And basically, if you finish top 2 in that any type of league, you have the chance to move up to the next league ahead of you. But then also in the process too, if you're the bottom 2 in that same league, then you're also relegated to move backwards as well to an even lower league where you get less money and less benefits to be able to pay for certain players and transfers and all that stuff to get better players on your team or better facilities and stuff. So yeah, that first season I don't really want to spoil what ended up happening because it's basically them trying to get into the next round and stuff, and basically still trying to do that, keep moving upward and onward. It's pretty hard for a team like that to maybe move up to the #1 Premier League, but they definitely have a chance because they've got some pretty good players and they're trying to make some moves here and there, and it's pretty fun to listen and see when Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney come in and talk about the whole process and everything. They're definitely in that first season quite a bit. Not as much in the second season as I've been watching, but definitely still very interested in behind the scenes, and didn't even know that they even have like a women's team as well that doesn't get paid, but yet they still have to play, and if they're able to move up into a newer league as well, then they get paid also. So I think that was in the process of watching that. I don't know if they advanced or not, but yeah, either way, it's still pretty interesting throughout. So if you're interested in soccer or football and documentary style type of thing, then I definitely say give it a check out. Yeah, these past couple of weeks and months, I haven't really been watching anything new since I did the first part of this video, but was finally able to see some newer things, beginning with A Quiet Place Day 1, I believe is what it's called. It's pretty much the prequel to those others two, The Quiet Place Part 1 and 2, or #1 and 2, whatever they call it. And it's basically like the very first day. I know in the second movie they kind of did something where they kind of brought back everybody who may or may not have survived that first one to kind of do like what kind of happened, but it was only like the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and it was like the aliens or whatever creatures they are came to Earth, and then kind of craziness ensues, and they kind of get away, and then you kind of pick up to where that story left off. But obviously I thought it was really good. A couple of nice jump scares in there, obviously with the likes of Lupita Nyong'o in there as the main actress. She's going to be good. I believe she's Academy Award nominated. I could be wrong. No, I think she is. I think she won for 12 Years a Slave about a decade or so ago. But yeah, very talented. I think the guy that's in there, the main second lead, is Joseph Quinn. Never really knew much about him, but we're gonna get to know about him quite a bit because he's in a couple bit of things that I'm interested in. Obviously, this was one of the first ones that came out earlier this year, and I believe later this year he's in Gladiator Part 2. So we'll see how he does there. But he also got the role as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four to play the Human Torch, will be out next year as well. So obviously Marvel knows who they get when it comes to certain actors and stuff, and obviously the Human Torch is played pretty well by Chris Evans and very little bit by Michael B. Jordan when he was that character for one movie. I know some people probably already forgot that, but yeah, either way, thought he did a pretty good job in this movie as well. Very quiet movie, even though probably some of my neighbors weren't as quiet at the time, playing some music loudly that day, but still could enjoy the movie for what it was. So I definitely give A Quiet Place Day 1 check out. And a newer movie I was really interested in when it was in theaters, but sadly wasn't able to go at the time. Pretty busy when it came out, and I heard it didn't really do that good in the theater, which sucks because it's a pretty good movie in my opinion, but ended up watching just a regular version of The Fall Guy on Peacock. I know they have two versions. I think it's an extended cut. It's 20 minutes longer, but at around 2 hours, the regular time one, it kind of feels like it's a good enough part. If they added 20 minutes more of action, then that'd be cool, I guess, but you can't really add that much of action and still it'd be entertaining in my opinion. But I'll probably still give that extended version a look out better later. But yeah, it's pretty much Ryan Gosling plays a stuntman. I think this is based off a TV show from the 70s or 80s of the same name. I could be wrong, because I don't think it was called just Stuntman, whatever it's called. But yeah, he plays a stuntman, ends up getting hurt, and then kind of feels bad about it because he had some type of fling relationship with one of the other workers on the crew, who happens to be Emily Blunt at the time. This happens in the first couple minutes of the movie, and then he gets hurt, kind of feels sorry for himself, and doesn't want to talk to anybody, so ends up being on his own for more than a year, and then gets a job call to finally come back and work with actually that same woman again on a different movie, because she's actually going to be directing it. And so he thinks it's kind of his chance to make amends and make things better. but then he finds out that he's actually there to go and look for the main actor he was always the stuntman for, and I guess he got himself into some pretty big mess up, and he has to try to find him and help him out, I guess, basically to get him out of this pickle. Why choose him? I don't know, but I guess you really end up finding out why towards the middle and the end. I don't want to explain anything because it's kind of a spoiler for the pretty much rest of the half of the movie, but I thought it was very enjoyable. It's definitely a very love letter movie, as they say, to stunts and stuntmen and women, especially trying to do as much as possible as they could live action, which is great because I believe it's David Leitch who directed it, who directed like the first couple of John Wick movies, which are pretty much based in reality, or at least they tried to do like a lot of the stunts for real. And they went pretty high budget with this one, did a lot more crazy stuff in my opinion. I was surprised about how much stuff they were able to do in live action, but yeah, overall, thought the action was great. Story was kind of fun. I mean, it's two hot people that are falling in love apparently in this movie, so I guess it works for any movie that with that type of subject, but the fact that it was an action movie as well made it a little bit easier to watch in my opinion. So if you're looking forward to that and you have some time, I would definitely say check out The Fall Guy. I was probably going to end this video right here, but I think within the next couple days after this, my family and I are going to be watching the sequel to Beetlejuice, which is called Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the next couple of days. So hopefully I'll be able to add that at the end of this video and you'll enjoy the review, and hopefully I'll enjoy the movie too. It's got some pretty good high ratings from both critics and people who have already watched it. So looking forward to it and wish me luck. And it looks like The Nightmare Before Christmas will be returning to theaters October 11th. So that's always pretty fun to see it in theaters. So I will most likely be doing that with my family next month. And then looks like Constantine 2 is, at least the script is finally done. And there is still word that Keanu Reeves and the director Francis Lawrence from the first one are going to be returning. So looking like a big thing. That's always would have been one of my favorite cult movies, as they would say, because it's not as great, but or even as popular, but it's still beloved by a lot of people on the underground. So yeah, it's a pretty cool idea movie. So hoping to see what they can do for the sequel. And I was able to watch finally that very first Alien movie that came out in the late 70s. I was kind of wondering, like, why is this in the horror section? It really isn't as scary for like the first hour because you're just kind of like waiting, and it's like a sci-fi movie pretty much. And then it kind of gets going right there once the alien is on board and on the ship and stuff starts happening. And yeah, it was pretty good. So definitely looking forward to seeing what the sequel is, and looking forward to that new Alien Romulus that came out. Maybe I'll be able to catch it in theaters before it's gone. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what the rest of this franchise holds. And to end this video off, I think it came out last week, right after I saw this, was Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the sequel to obviously the 80s classic. And my honest opinion, it was okay. I mean, would I recommend you seeing it or watching it? Yes. Would I recommend you going to the theater to go watch it? Probably not. I think you could just wait till it's on streaming in a couple months, because it was just okay. And I think even there were a couple characters that were kind of off, like Justin Theroux's character, who is supposedly getting married or in a relationship with Winona Ryder's Lydia Dietz, the main character from the first movie. It's like, okay, you kind of understand why he's there, but kind of everything he did was kind of dumb and pointless and not really necessary or important. So yeah, and overall, it's okay. Had some laughs, some pretty cool visuals here and there that were still like actual visual effects, not special effects like computer generated. There's still a lot of computer generated stuff, but either way, still enjoyed it. We'll probably watch it again, like I said, once it's streaming and all that stuff. But if you're looking to maybe head out and spend that extra money, I would say save your money when it comes out streaming. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.